As we get closer and closer to Christmas, the news cycle is going to get slower and slower. So today, I wanted to do sort of an expose on Keith Olbermann. I did something similar to this over the summer with Stephen A. Smith, but the trajectory of this video is going to be a little bit different. With Stephen A., I showed you guys the decline in his mentality. Stephen A. Smith used to be a common sense thinker. He used to form his own opinion. He didn't always suck the dick at ESPN. He wasn't always the world's highest paid parrot. Hell, Stephen A. Smith encouraged African Americans to vote for Donald Trump back in 2016. He used to be vilified by social justice warriors. They hated him. They claimed he always took the side of the evil white man. Keith Olbermann is different. While I disagree with this new and improved Stephen A. Smith, I don't think he's a bad dude. Just because he sold his integrity for money, it doesn't make him evil. Keith Olbermann has always been a piece of shit. Keith Olbermann is evil. He is the definition of misery. I know people who struggle financially don't believe this, but money does not make you happy. That saying, money doesn't buy happiness, it's real, it's true. Keith Olbermann is a prime example of how your career ends as a social justice warrior. This dude was on top of the media mountain for what, 20 years? SportsCenter in the 90s, MSNBC in the 2000s. One thing about him, he has never changed. Keith Olbermann has been the same. He calls himself a progressive, which by definition would mean that you are always changing, progressing. But Keith Olbermann has not changed in 30 years. This dude was out of his mind in 1990, and he's out of his mind now. I don't even know where to begin with the lunacy of Keith Olbermann. What was it? Last week, when he inserted politics into that Michigan school shooting, Dave Portnoy tweeted something about a football player at the school sacrificing his life to save the lives of others. Keith Olbermann responds to it, and he basically insinuates that this kid wasted his life because the parents of the school shooter were Donald Trump supporters. Because, normal people always think about politics when tragedy happens. Or what about the time this summer when Keith Olbermann was so offended with Cole Beasley? This man is anti-vax. He is walking around killing people. Don't go near Cole Beasley. He is dangerous. Or what about the time Keith Olbermann blamed Donald Trump for the Capitol Police killing that woman during the January 6th riot in D.C.? Or the time when this dumbass, who has been pushing the vaccine all year, said the people who live in Texas should not have access to the vaccine. The COVID is supposedly so dangerous, but people living in one of the biggest states in the country, they shouldn't have access to the vaccine. Or what about the time Keith Olbermann called for Tucker Carlson to be arrested? What did he want Tucker Carlson arrested for? Because he supports the Second Amendment. All of these examples have happened in the last 12 months. Imagine what I could dig up on this asshole if I looked through the last 30 years. Keith Olbermann has spent the last few years desperately trying to gain the respect and the admiration of social justice warriors. And look, he's not the only one. These blue check marks on Twitter, they promote bullshit, trying to get likes, retweets, followers, basically trying to stay relevant. Companies do the same thing, and it doesn't make any sense. I've told you guys before. Between 8 and 10% of the country identifies themselves as virgins or social justice warriors, and they all live on Twitter. 92% of the activity on Twitter is done by 10% of the accounts. I wonder which 10% that is. Which means people like Keith Olbermann are preaching to the choir on Twitter. It's the reason it doesn't make any sense when the NBA or other companies make decisions based off of Twitter reactions. You are basing these decisions off the screwed up mentality of 8% of the population. You're basing decisions off the opinion of losers. And here's the thing about these people. This explains why people like Keith Olbermann are constantly tweeting, constantly creating racism. Social justice warriors on Twitter, they expect blue check marks to call out mythical woke issues every day, which is fine when the news cycle is rolling. But what happens when the news slows down? Keith Olbermann has to create issues. kind of like he did with the Michigan school shooter. He has to create a problem, create a cause. He is trying to please people who are unpleasable. You are never going to satisfy social justice warriors. These people will screw you over. It doesn't matter how many donations you have given to the woke bank. They don't give a shit. They don't care about your past contributions. All they care about is right now. Just ask Rachel Nichols. Rachel Nichols was a loyal SJW. She used her platform to promote bullshit causes like equal pay for women in sports when it hadn't been earned. The first time Rachel Nichols was caught going against the agenda, she was blackballed. It's happened to Stephen A. Smith. Remember when he talked about the fact that Major League Baseball couldn't market the league around Shohei Ohtani because he can't speak English? Stephen A. was crucified. He was labeled a racist. This man hates Asian people. Of course, he immediately got down on his knees, allowed them to insert the woke dick right in his mouth, and apologized for his transgressions. Hell, it just happened to Chris Cuomo, too. Chris Cuomo is mentally handicapped. He went on the air every night on CNN and struggled to read the woke talking points off a teleprompter. But he was a loyal SJW. Did they care? No. First sign of a scandal, Chris Cuomo is out on his ass. The same people he spent years trying to appease called for him to be fired. The blue checkmarks on Twitter, they are acting. They're playing a role. That's all this is. These people don't really believe what they're promoting. After a while, they forget who they are. Keith Olbermann has portrayed a miserable piece of shit for so long, it is exactly who he became. I call SJWs virgins all the time, and I'm not kidding either. Keith Olbermann is the ultimate virgin. Have you ever seen him with a woman? Have you ever seen him with a woman? Google Keith Olbermann girlfriend. Nothing comes up. Just a bunch of pictures of him looking like a dumbass. This dude is 62 years old, been in the media over 30 years, and not one event with a woman. It makes sense when you think about it. Girls want men that are fun, men that are funny. Keith Olbermann is neither. He's about as fun as going to a casino and having no money. It's funny though. Keith Olbermann is all about fake outrage when it fits the narrative. Where was he with Jussie Smollett? I haven't heard one thing from Keith Olbermann on that story. Strange. Some dude makes up a mythical story about fake racism, gets busted, and no fake outrage from Keith Olbermann? MSNBC last week acted like the story didn't even exist. They didn't mention it one time in prime time. Don Lemon did at CNN, but I already told you guys what CNN is doing. They are trying to regain the 75% of the audience they've lost in the last 12 months. It is another example of the hypocrisy. Keith Olbermann and his fellow virgins cover the Kyle Rittenhouse story 24/7. But Jussie Smollett? Crickets. If anyone is thinking about aligning themselves with the woke movement, the career trajectory of Keith Olbermann should be enough to convince you otherwise. This is a man that was on top of the media mountain and has fallen all the way to the bottom, while all of his friends have disappeared. His fellow social justice warriors, they don't have his back. Speaking of friends, another fun fact for you guys. It's after I've gotten older, my friend group has become considerably smaller. When I was a teenager through my early 20s, I had a huge group of friends. But at 37 years old, I have a lot of acquaintances, but only a handful of people that I call friends. 10% of Americans say they have zero friends, none. Now, I wonder how many in that 10% are social justice warriors. I would imagine Keith Olbermann falls into that 10%. I know for damn sure he doesn't have any female friends. All right, let me get out of here. I have one more video that I want to try to get uploaded today, and I wanted to get it uploaded before the NFL starts. Doesn't look like that's going to happen, so I'll try to get it done after the Saints game. But I wanted to take a second here to thank you guys. November and December are usually the slowest months here on YouTube. Holiday season, less people are using the platform. I think YouTube also adjusts the algorithm this time of year. Impressions are significantly down right now, but they are starting to trend back up in the right direction. But you guys have been great during this slow period. I know you guys can't see the dislike button anymore. That's not my call. I didn't remove it. I'm not trying to hide anything from you. YouTube did that on their own. I appreciate you smashing that like button on every video. This past week, damn near every video has been 99% likes. Not only that, you guys watching over half the videos helps too. The majority of the videos have an average view duration in the 60% range, which is phenomenal. The average YouTube video falls in the 50 to 60% range, so we're on the top side of the average. I appreciate all the support. I've seen some of your comments about the subscriber numbers. We went from averaging about 1,000 new subscribers every month to around 200 to 300. It is not a conspiracy. YouTube is not trying to flatten my growth. The platform is cyclical. Just like any other business, you have peaks and you have valleys. It's the same here on YouTube. I'm guessing come January and definitely February when the Olympics start, the growth will come back. My goal was to get 14,000 subscribers by the end of December. Don't think we're going to get there, but that's okay. The channel has grown more than I ever thought it would this year. And we're going to continue to grow, and we're going to continue to call out the bullshit. So give me your thoughts on the downfall of Keith Olbermann and the miserable life that he leads. Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys later.